G'day guys and welcome back to the Rassic Brothers. Today I'm here to rank every single coach in the AFL. Now I won't just be ranking them based off of this year, I will be taking in their careers as a whole as coaches. So let's get into it with the first coach. So first up on today's list we have Matthew Nicks. Now Matty Nicks, he's solid. When he first came in, I believe it was 2020. Obviously, the Crows had a terrible year. They finished 18th. Things weren't looking good. At the time, it was likely that Matthew Nicks was going to get sacked pretty soon. But his turnaround has been very inspiring and very good. Yeah, I think he's pretty solid. You can see the Crows, they've still got a pretty young list, but they are playing some excellent football this year. For Matthew Nicks, I think it's fair to put him at the top of the B tier. Now next up we have Brisbane Lions Premiership coach Chris Fagan. Now for Chris Fagan, it's fair to say that he is an amazing coach. I believe he came in to the Lions maybe 2017, and for a couple years there, they were looking a little bit iffy, the Lions. But Chris Fagan has turned that around. They've made finals every year since 2019. Chris Fagan is an excellent coach, made multiple prelims, made a couple grannies, won the premiership obviously last year. I think for now Chris Fagan is going to the top of S tier. So next up we have Michael Voss, and it is safe to say that he is having another underwhelming year. We know last year Carlton were expected to finish higher than 8th, coming off a great 2023 season, nearly making the grand final. And yeah, this year it looks to be even worse than that. I could put Michael Voss in the D tier, but for now he's going in the C tier. I think, yeah, it's a bit harsh to put him right at the bottom, but yeah, he's having a pretty shocking season, isn't he? Now next up we have my coach, well he's not my coach exactly, but for my team, the Collingwood Football Club, we have Craig McRae. Now this is besides the point, but Ward, Jay and I were lucky enough to meet Craig McRae back in 2022 at an arcade, and he was such a legend. He was with his daughter, took his time out of his day to take a photo with us, but that's besides the point. As a coach, he is one of the best, if not the best, in the AFL. I'm not being biased, come on. We were struggling at the end of 2021, asking for someone to come take over the Pies, help us out, get us back in to premiership contention. And that's exactly what Craig McRae has done. We were 1 point off a grand final in his very first season. Then we won the premiership in 2023. You can say what you want about 2024. Yes, it was definitely a step back. We had a lot of injuries. But now in 2025, look where we are at right now. Craig McRae, who's going above Chris Fagan in the S tier. Okay, so now we have former North Melbourne coach and Essendon coach currently, Brad Scott. Now Brad Scott, he lives in his brother's shadow, sadly, as a coach, maybe not as a player. But yeah, as a coach, I think he's done well so far with the Bombers. They have choked finals the last couple years. This year they're a fair bit younger as well, and I think he's done pretty well so far. I think you definitely can't put him in D tier. I think he's almost B tier worthy. At North Melbourne, made a couple prelims. I think B tier, bottom of B tier for now for Brad Scott. Okay, so next up we have Fremantle coach Justin Longmuir, and if this was a month or two ago, he would be going in the C or D tier, but he has turned his side around. Last year Fremantle, and I believe the year before, both those years they should have made finals, didn't make it. 2022 they made the semi-final. This year it's looking a lot better. The last few weeks they've beaten the Suns, they've beaten Essendon and North Melbourne, which are okay wins. Gold Coast is obviously a good one. They beat the Giants too. But yeah, they've got some good wins on the board. I think B tier probably for Justin Longmuir right now. We'll put him just under Matty Nicks. Alright, next up, in my opinion, the best coach of the modern era, or maybe behind Lee Matthews, and you could argue with Damien Hardwick or Alistair Clarkson, but I've got Chris Scott. Since Chris Scott has been the coach of the Geelong Football Club, they have only missed finals twice, and they just missed out on finals. Now that comes along with 3 grand finals, 2 premierships, over half a dozen prelim finals. Yeah, he's going straight to the top of best, no debate. Now we have Damien Hardwick, speaking of the great man. 3 premierships with the Tigers. Imagine he got sacked at the end of 2016. He would be definitely at the bottom of D tier. But those 3 premierships hold high value to Dimmer's name. And right now the Suns, they are doing, I'd say, better than probably what they were expected to do. Maybe. But yeah, I think Dimmer is top of A tier material. Great coach. Definitely making the Suns exceed expectations. So yeah, A tier for Damien Hardwick. Next up, we have Adam Kingsley. And I think Adam Kingsley is a great coach. Ever since Leon Cameron stepped down and Kingsley took over as coach for the Giants, they have played some really good football. 2023 was a massive year for the Giants. Of course, last year was very disappointing, choking that semi-final to the Lions. But I think the Giants are starting to find some form again. Adam Kingsley, a great coach. I've seen some of the behind-the-scenes stuff on AFL 360. And yes, he can get a little bit angry sometimes, but I think mostly he's a pretty chill character, even though he almost got into a fight with Craig McRae, but that's all good. Yeah, we'll put him just behind Damien Hardwick in the A tier. And another coach that will be going in the A tier, I've got Sammy Mitchell from the Hawthorn Hawks. Another coach that has really turned his side around. We've seen a lot of coaches do that recently, and that's why they come in to turn their team around that are currently struggling. But yeah, Sam Mitchell, great coach, great character. Hawks are flying at the minute. They flew last year. Probably could have made a prelim final. That was a little bit disappointing, but yeah, they're definitely flying. I think for now, Sammy Mitchell goes in the bottom of the A tier. And now we have former premiership coach Simon Goodwin. Now, if this was at the end of 2021 or halfway through 2022, I think Simon Goodwin would be close to S tier. But I'm sorry, Simon Goodwin. You're now in the C tier. And the reason being, they haven't won a final since 2021. Every year they seem to get a bit worse. About a month ago, they were looking like they were going to bounce back. They almost beat the Pies. They had a few good wins. They beat the Lions. They had a few good wins of these, but it's starting to fall apart again a little bit for Melbourne. I think C tier. Above Michael Voss, but I reckon C tier for Simon Goodwin. And now we have one of the greatest coaches of the modern era, Alistair Clarkson. Like I said about Simon Goodwin, if this was a few years ago, Clarko would be the top of this list. But we've seen him struggle a lot with North Melbourne over the last few years. Don't get me wrong, he's still a great coach, but I think for now he's got to go at the top of the B tier. Whoa, I know that might be controversial. Don't come at me, just hear me out, alright? Clarko is a great coach, but when your team is constantly finishing in the bottom 4, bottom 2, wooden spoon, it's not a great look on your accolades as a coach and your career as a whole. They're playing some better footy now, obviously beating Carlton on the weekend, but Clarko, sorry mate, I've got to put you at the top of B tier. And now we have Ken Hinkley. After a good couple weeks for the Power, knocking off the Giants and the D's, they were expected to beat the Swans, fell short, disappointingly. Ken Hinkley, as a coach, should have made at least one grand final, if not 2, if not 3. he hasn't made one. He still had some success over time, but I'm sorry, Ken, I cannot put you any higher than the top of C tier. I know Port fans are going to be mad with that, or maybe not. Maybe you want him sacked now, but it might be a little bit harsh, but Ken Hinkley's going at the top of C tier. Okay, now we have another Adam on this list. We had Adam Kingsley before. No longer have Adam Simpson, but we have Adam Uze for the Tigers. I'm actually a bit of a fan of Adam Uze. I reckon he's a pretty solid coach. Richmond were expected to perhaps go winless this year, and they've had a few wins along the way, the Tigers. Yeah, they do get blown out in a few games, but that's expected. I think Adam Uze is going to be a good coach once Richmond grow as a club a little bit more. They are super young at the moment, but you wait, in a few years' time, I think Richmond will be up there again, contending for premierships. Adam Uze, for now, is going in the bottom of the B tier. Okay, and now we have Ross the Boss, Ross Lyon. Where do we place Ross the Boss? He's had an unlucky career, it's safe to say. Losing 3 grand finals, drawing 1 grand final. So close from a premiership. Yeah, that was a while ago. Obviously, in the present day, the Saints, it's hard to judge the Saints. They haven't had a lot of success over the years. Only making finals twice since 2011. Only winning 1 final since 2011. As of this year, they're probably doing a little bit worse than expected. But I still think Ross Lyon is the man for the Saints. I'm going to put him in the B tier, just above Adam Uze. I've done some shuffling around. Since the B tier was getting way too congested, I put Clarko up in the A tier. You happy, Clarko fans? There you go. And Brad Scott in the C tier. And as you can see, also I put Dean Cox in the middle of the B tier. I think it's too early to judge Dean Cox. That's why he's sort of in the middle. The Swans are starting to find a bit of form since I've got Goulden and Papley back. And yeah, I think B tier for Coxie is appropriate. And for our final 2 coaches, Andrew McQualter and Luke Beveridge. To start things off, Andrew McQualter, he is going at the bottom of C tier. Yeah, the Eagles aren't playing great footy at the moment. I don't want to jinx the Pies for Saturday. But yeah, they're not playing good footy at the moment. I'm not sure about Andrew McQualter. Yes, I do hate West Coast, but yeah, I'm not sure. I think bottom of C tier. I can't really put him above any of the other coaches yet. And then Bevo. This might be really controversial since the Dogs have won a premiership with Luke Beveridge, but I've got him in the B tier behind Justin Longmuir. The reason why is because the Dogs have not won a final since 2021 when they made the granny. And then before 2021, they haven't won a final since 2016. Also, since coaching the Dogs, Luke Beveridge has never finished in the top 4. I think the Dogs fans, a lot of them can agree with this. They struggle against good teams. They always seem to blow out the shit teams. St Kilda, Richmond, North Melbourne. But when they face a genuine contender, they shit the bed. They did it against Collingwood. You can say they were robbed, whatever. They did it against Hawthorn. They did it against Geelong. Yes, I'm not a huge fan of the Dogs, but I think Bevo is a little bit overrated. I think he should have been sacked at the end of last season. But if they make top 4 this year, I will change my mind and I'll put Bevo in the A tier. Okay guys, so that is my official ranking of every coach in the AFL in the Big 25. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure you enter our 2,000 subscriber giveaway. That is our second latest video, so go check that one out. We'll catch you guys in the next one. Cheers.